David Bowie did not merely create characters, he disappeared into them. Ziggy Stardust, the Thin White Duke, Aladdin Sane, Halloween Jack. Each one arrived like a different reality wearing human skin. The world called it reinvention. But what if it was something deeper? What happens when a person spends decades replacing identity over and over again? At what point does transformation stop being performance and become fragmentation? Tonight we investigate David Bowie, not as a musician, but as a living experiment in identity itself. Welcome to Mysterious Encounters. Tonight's case file: masks, personas, celebrity mythology, and the terrifying possibility that the modern self may be far more fluid than we want to believe. This is David Bowie, the man who lived as many selves. In 1972, David Bowie introduced Ziggy Stardust to the world, an androgynous alien rock star sent to Earth during the apocalypse. But Ziggy was more than a character. He felt like a transmission. Orange hair, one staring eye, cosmic symbolism, sexual ambiguity, otherworldly detachment. Ziggy arrived during a cultural moment when society itself was beginning to lose stable identity structures. And Bowie understood something before most people did. Modern identity had become performative. People no longer wanted authenticity. They wanted transformation. Ziggy Stardust was not merely music. It was symbolic metamorphosis, a human becoming mythology in real time. Ancient civilizations used masks for rituals, not costumes, transformations. The wearer temporarily became spirits, gods, archetypes, alternate selves. The mask allowed consciousness to cross identity boundaries. Bowie modernized this ancient ritual psychologically. Each persona became a symbolic portal. Ziggy Stardust represented cosmic alienation. Aladdin Sane represented fractured fame. The Thin White Duke represented emotional emptiness and detachment. These were not random aesthetics. They were psychological states externalized into living symbols. And the deeper Bowie entered these identities, the less stable the idea of a permanent David Bowie seemed to become. Celebrity creates a dangerous psychological phenomenon. Millions of strangers begin projecting onto a person simultaneously. The public no longer sees the human being. They see fantasy, symbolism, desire, fear, archetype. Eventually, the celebrity begins experiencing themselves through projection. The observer effect becomes total. Every movement watched, every appearance analyzed, every identity amplified. And Bowie leaned directly into this instability. Instead of resisting fragmentation, he accelerated it. He continuously dissolved oneself and created another. But there is a danger in endless reinvention. If identity becomes infinitely flexible, what remains underneath the masks? Of all Bowie's personas, none felt more disturbing than the Thin White Duke. Cold, emotionless, elegant, detached. A hollow aristocratic figure moving through fame like a ghost. During this era, Bowie himself admitted he barely remembered portions of his own life. Isolation, substances, exhaustion, psychological dislocation. The Duke represented something terrifying, identity stripped of emotional humanity. A performance so controlled it became mechanical. The smiling celebrity machine had reached its final stage. Pure image without stable selfhood. This is why the character still unsettles people. The Thin White Duke feels less like a person, and more like consciousness emptied out by performance. The strange thing about powerful personas is that they survive the person who created them. Ziggy Stardust still exists culturally. The Duke still exists. The symbols still move through collective consciousness. This raises an unsettling question. Do humans create archetypes? Or do archetypes use humans as temporary vessels? Bowie spent his life channeling identities larger than ordinary personality. Alien, prophet, ghost, star, fragmented self. And perhaps that is why people still experience him less as a celebrity and more as a phenomenon. He did not simply entertain culture, he reflected its instability back to itself. Modern culture encourages constant reinvention, online identities, curated personas. algorithmic self-construction, performance replacing authenticity. David Bowie may have simply reached this condition decades earlier than everyone else he understood. The self is more unstable than society pretends, and perhaps this is the true mystery surrounding Bowie. Not whether he was secretly alien, but whether stable identity itself was always an illusion, because if consciousness can continuously transform, then who exactly is the real self? The first mask? The final one? Or the awareness moving silently beneath them all? David Bowie became one of the defining figures of modern culture because he embodied something humanity secretly fears: the possibility that identity is not fixed, only performed, only shifting, only temporarily assembled beneath the spotlight of perception. And perhaps that is why Ziggy Stardust still feels alive, because some personas stop being characters and become realities people continue inhabiting long after the performer disappears. This has been a mysterious encounter, and perhaps the strangest part of fame is not becoming known by the world, but slowly forgetting who existed before the performance began.